If your child has ADHD, there is a 95% chance you're missing this critical nutrient, and it could be making symptoms so much worse. Welcome to the Soaring Child podcast, where parents of children with ADHD learn tips and tricks to help their child soar at home, at school, and in life. We feature interviews with experts, medical professionals, and parents just like you who are learning how to reduce ADHD symptoms using food and other natural strategies. Because children with ADHD deserve to soar just like every other child. I'm Dana Kay, your host. And I'm not just talking about focus. This nutrient affects mood swings, picky eating, sleep, and even sensory processing. Yet most parents have no idea their child is deficient. Enter zinc. That's exactly what we're talking about today, zinc. Last week, we scratched the surface on how zinc can affect picky eating. But today, we're going all in because zinc doesn't just help with appetite, it plays a major role in brain function, emotional regulation, sleep, and even sensory processing. Hello, parents, and welcome back to another edition of the Soaring Child podcast. I'm your host, Dana Kay, your ADHD board certified health and nutrition practitioner. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know what I'm all about. Practical, natural solutions to help children with ADHD thrive. And today we're diving into a super important nutrient that doesn't get talked about enough, zinc. Now, last week on the Soaring Child podcast, we had special guest Andrea Daigle, and I touched briefly with her on how zinc can affect picky eating. If you missed that episode, be sure to check the link in the show notes because we went deep into why picky eating isn't just about behavior. It can actually be caused by nutrient imbalances like zinc deficiency. You'll also want to check out some of the other links I'm adding to the show notes. The last few months, we've actually been doing a new series on the best supplements for kids with ADHD. And these short, sharp episodes have been super duper popular. Now, we've got links to our discussions on magnesium, saffron, GABA, resveratrol, quercetin, pyritostilbene, L-theanine, iron, omegas, and vitamin D. And they're all in the show notes for you guys to check out. And with each episode, we actually have a cheat sheet. So you can easily quick reference these cheat sheets on each supplement. You can find all of those in the show notes as well. Now, let's talk about something that could be a total game changer for your child's brain, their mood, and even their sleep, and that's zinc. If you've ever wondered what exactly zinc does in the body, how low zinc levels might be impacting your child, natural ways to boost zinc, and my favorite zinc supplements, then totally take a seat because we're going to dive in right now. So let's start with the basics. What is zinc? Now, it's a potent antioxidant and it boosts cell growth and development and bolsters your immunity. Okay, super critical for immunity. But it also creates neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. And these are our sort of like happy chemicals in our body. They're associated with sort of improved mood, cognitive function, social development, sleep. But here's something most doctors won't even tell you. Okay, zinc and copper are kind of like this seesaw. Okay, so when zinc is low and copper goes sky high, that messes with your child's brain chemistry, literally burning through that dopamine. And that means more mood swings, more hyperactivity, more meltdowns. Now, if you've been following my podcast, you know that dopamine is critical for ADHD management. It helps with regulating attention, emotional control, impulse management, things like that. So if your child is struggling with impulsivity or hyperactivity or mood swings, low zinc could actually be a factor. And zinc is one of those sort of small but mighty minerals that impacts a lot of different areas in our body, the first of which is brain development. And there was some research from the University of Toronto, and it suggested that zinc helps neurons in the brain communicate, which affects memory, which affects learning and cognitive function. And many children with ADHD also have delayed speech or difficulty processing sounds, and zinc plays a role in those functions. Now, weirdly enough, zinc can also affect sensory processing and eye contact. And that's because zinc helps regulate sensory input, which can affect how children respond to textures, to sounds, and even eye contact. It also helps with muscle tone and coordination. So if your child struggles with low muscle tone or coordination, zinc could be part of the puzzle. And finally, zinc supports immune function. It helps the body fight off infections. It supports overall immune health. So, as you can see, zinc deficiency directly impacts brain function. It impacts behavior and also development. So, how do you know if your child might be deficient in zinc? So there are some common signs that you want to look out for. Things like irritability or anger. If you feel your child's moods are sort of like on that roller coaster. Or another way is, do they get sick more often than other kids? Maybe they have white spots on their nails or are sort of super sensitive to sounds and textures. Are they a picky eater? Okay, all of these could be screaming zinc deficiency. And the last one, especially, is huge. If you've got a picky eater, zinc deficiency could be making food taste bland or even offensive to your child. And so this creates a vicious cycle. Low zinc makes food taste worse. So kids eat even fewer zinc rich foods, which then lowers the zinc levels even more. So if you missed last week's episode on picky eating and zinc, be sure to check the link in my show notes. Now, I also mentioned that zinc and copper are related to one another when zinc is low and copper gets high. So you want to also pay attention to signs of copper overload. Okay, that's a big one for kids with ADHD. Things like hyperactivity, academic underachievement, skin sensitivity, emotional meltdowns, ringing in the ears, sensitivity to food dyes, high anxiety, and sleep problems. It's pretty crazy how many symptoms can actually relate to high copper or even low zinc. Like, I mean, you can list them off, and a lot of them relate to ADHD symptoms. So if you might suspect your child is zinc deficient, there's one way to confirm. You can confirm via a simple blood test or even a hair analysis. But if you want a super quick at-home test that you can try just to assess if you need to take testing even further, there's something called a zinc assay taste test. It's super easy. You just give your child a teaspoon of liquid zinc assay, and if it tastes horrible straight away, their zinc levels are likely normal. If it tastes like water or has absolutely no taste, they're very likely deficient in zinc. And if it's somewhere in between, they're probably moderately zinc deficient. Now, I actually created a chart to help you understand the zinc assay test at home. So check that out in the show notes. So if this test shows that your child is deficient in zinc, you may want to take testing deeper. But you can also just start with food. So I'm going to give you some of the best natural sources of zinc. First of all, there's red meat and shellfish, especially oysters and shrimp. There's also seeds, okay, nuts, legumes, and even dark chocolate. So if your child isn't eating enough of these foods, or if picky eating is making it really hard to get enough zinc, supplementation can also help. And my favorite zinc supplement is from a company called Pure Encapsulations, and I like their zinc liquid, which is sort of gentle, it's well absorbed, it's really easy to titrate, meaning that you can start low and go slow and increase the levels from there. Now, it's also great that it doesn't cause any stomach upset. Now, when dosing, some practitioners recommend 20 to 25 milligrams per day for children. Some go 10 to 15 milligrams, but it's always best to check with your doctor first before starting any new supplement. Excessive zinc can actually lead to other symptoms like nausea. So it's always best to work with a professional for a tailored plan that's right for your child. Okay, let's do a recap. Number one, Okay, zinc is essential for brain function, neurotransmitter production, and sensory processing. Key point number 2, low zinc levels are linked to ADHD symptoms. And when zinc is low, copper can go up, which can lead to issues with too much copper. Key point number 3, zinc deficiency can be an underlying stressor that leads to picky eating because it affects taste perception. Key point number 4, the best food sources of zinc are red meat, shellfish, seeds, and dark chocolate. Key point number 5, if supplementation is needed, I recommend pure encapsulation zinc liquid, 15 milligrams. That's the what's on the bottle, not the dose that I'm recommending to you in particular. I will add a link to this particular supplement in the show notes below. And finally, key point number 6, you can check zinc levels with a blood analysis or a hair analysis. I will say that you want to check zinc plasma, not zinc serum. A lot of doctors out there will check zinc serum. We have found that to be inaccurate. A lot of false negatives. We want to actually make sure we are deficient in zinc, and the best way to do that is via zinc plasma. But those are the most accurate tests, but there's also a test called a zinc assay taste test, which you can do at home by yourself. All right, parents, now that you know how big of a deal zinc is for ADHD, here's my challenge to you. I want you guys to try the at-home zinc assay test this week, and I want you to DM me your results. You can find my email easily at adhdthriveinstitute.com, or you can contact me through any of our social networks. Let's see just how many kids out there are actually zinc deficient. And of course, grab the zinc cheat sheet in the show notes so you've got all the information, supplement options, dosage info right at your fingertips. Listeners, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Soaring Child podcast. I'm Dana Kay, your ADHD health practitioner. Keep on thriving. Thank you for listening to the Soaring Child podcast today. To learn more about how to help your child with ADHD soar using natural strategies, visit our website at adhdthriveinstitute.com and follow us on social media at ADHD Thrive Institute.